what the fuck just happened? Who wrote this shit?
I'm pretty sure...
We can say these... You screwed up the bit again. I did this with the last Deadpool review. Deadpool. It was the joke from the game. So, yeah. Deadpool 2. And hey, I have people to talk with now, because roommates.
Yay!
Everybody who's not met him recently, this is John. John is now one of my roommates. First met in the last Angry Geeks comic book issues group. You might also remember him from when we reviewed Kamen Rider the First and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Or you might know me, though, as that guy in the comments.
Matt has, of course, been my roommate for a while now. You may know him if you've actually seen our Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory Let's Play.
How you do?
So, yeah, Deadpool 2. With probably the best way to start this off is... They killed off Marina Baccarin! What the hell?
The monsters!
No wonder that I knew the guy involved with John Wick was he directing this movie or writing this movie? What was...
The director's David Leitch.
Yeah.
Director is David Leitch, who I think was the guy... Pull up the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the, holy crap, it is the guy who killed John Wick's dog and John...
My God!
The monster!
The jokes get even more meta.
Yeah, basically the entire opening credits are responding of, what the hell, you actually killed off Marina Baccarin's character. It's like, she has third billing after Josh Brolin.
And she basically just sits in a room for the most of the movie.
Yep. Some sort of wispy afterlife or whatever.
Admittedly, she's not an assassin, so had they not killed her off, she would have had pretty much the same role, but that's kind of the problem, in that she could have not been killed off and had pretty much the same role in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I read an interview from, I forget who, but the writers Rhett Reese and Paul Werrick, they had no idea what the women in refrigerators trope is, despite explicitly calling out and having met Gail Simone. And it's like, how can you not know Gail Simone and not know what got her in the comics industry from just doing an accounting of every female character that was killed or depowered to put male heroes on a character arc? I mean, like most tropes aren't implicitly bad, but comic books and things based on them have a horrible track record with this specific trope and how they utilize it.
And it pretty much felt wasteful of her to be there. Like, third billing, I would have given it to the woman who played Domino. What was her name? Zazie?
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, Zazie Beetz.
She was definitely the more prolific actress in this film. We should probably start with what we actually thought of the film itself, though.
I liked it, but felt it was problematic.
Yeah, me too. I thought it's better than the first Deadpool movie. I remember you guys did a vlog of the first Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
Mind if I give my thoughts on the first one?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Sure.
My thoughts on the first Deadpool movie. You see it once, you get the gist of it. It's fourth wall jokes, Ryan Reynolds jokes, and you get the Green Lantern jokes, of course, because everyone makes Green Lantern jokes. I think it's good, but it's not like the end-all be-all of R-rated superhero films. Like, especially since it and this film have a bit of a cynical edge to them that is off-putting, but I feel it works better in this one.
Yeah, as for me, I was laughing out at pretty much almost any joke that they made, but I agree with you, Davis, that there are problematic elements like the women in refrigerators thing.
Speak up, guys. You're not being picked up by the mic.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
It's been a while. I thought I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Thought it was hilarious. My real complaint with the movie actually was with the kid character Fire Fist. I felt like they played too heavily into the him being like damaged and stuff, and like on this mission to get revenge, without like really taking the time to say, hey, by the way, like you not just killing this guy was already wrong, but you also set fire to this entire building. You know what I mean? Like, but my favorite character in the movie, Domino, actually. Like, this is how you do luck-based superpowers. By not having, like, it doesn't warp reality around her, it just makes things, like, oddly convenient for her, you know?
Yeah, like, it's not like you become invincible god tier, you just have to pay attention and use your own skills to last the rest of the time until luck falls your way. It's not like luck is the end-all and be-all of your abilities, and you can just fake it the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of, in a word, 2 words, plot convenience in a way, but in a way that actually works. Because they actually, I think there's a bit there where they show the fallacy of her power that, like, she has luck-based, but I think it's one of those, you have to see it coming. Like during, there's a car chase scene with a convoy, and she is at the wheel, and something goes under the truck that cuts the brake fluid. So... And
that's not lucky to have that happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So you could say, like, she has luck-based powers, but it's not like eternal invincibility. Like, she has to see it coming.
Right.
Plus, if you note, everywhere else around her, it's like the Flash Season 4 episode that I actually saw, in that the character with luck-based powers has all the negative repercussions or bad luck that would have normally gone to her happen to other people.
Exactly. Like, that's exactly what happened. And Domino still has to be skilled enough to, like, you know, take advantage of it. As far as, like, my least favorite moment in the movie, to be quite honest, the whole X-Force gag. Yeah. Like, because the promotions were, like, heavily going, we're doing the X-Force thing. Like, we have Terry Crews, we have all these guys, we're superheroes, we're gonna fight evil.
And then everybody but Domino dies.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, you set this entire gag up for a joke that's actually kind of horrifying that these people are dying in, like,
very terrible ways. Like,
right.
It's so Deadpool, but it still feels unnecessarily mean-spirited.
Yeah.
Right, like...
There's a lot of that's kind of my... There's a lot of mean-spiritedness towards the trope of superheroes, where it feels like there's an underlying bit of contempt for normal mainstream stuff. And that I have problems with. Some people might find this funny, and I found a lot of the jokes so over the top. It's kind of funny, like one of my favorite horror comedy movies of all time is Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Oh, yeah, the one with SPD Ren in it.
Yeah, that one has a lot of, like, horrifying death jokes. But at the same time, it's play up for laughs, and it's, like, so ridiculously inconvenient and that's what this feels like. Like, a lot of it's like, these deaths, like, the entire X-Force dies because, like, when they're parachuting out of a plane, they
get caught up in, like, in a really big gust of wind, and...
it just blows them all off course, like...
Well, if I can interrupt you for a second, what was funny about Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is the kids that were getting themselves killed thought they were in a redneck horror movie where the redneck characters were actually serial killers, and it's like, no, they're just common people who are bystanders, and it's the kids' own actions that are getting them killed.
Right, like, it was a comedy of misunderstandings that had, like, a really dark edge to it. Where
here, it seems like it was more a no fault of their own kind of thing.
Like a terrible accident.
It easily could have gone the route of, Deadpool assembles this team of awesome people, and they all end up being useless, because that's kind of the same joke they have here. It's just, in that route, there's less unnecessarily and gratuitous slaughtering deaths.
Yeah, and, although, like, I really did like how in this movie they were playing up Deadpool's, like, major weakness in that he may be a fourth wall breaking, you know, regenerating badass, but take the regeneration away from him and
he's just a dude with cancer.
Exactly. Like, they, at one point in the movie, the Firefist character and Deadpool go to a jail cell, for plot reasons, and they get, like, one of those mutant taken away power collars on them, and Deadpool just becomes, you know, a guy with, like, super cancer, and I'm like, you know, I feel like it lasted for just bit enough that we got the idea that this guy is up against most other superheroes, like, he is gonna get thoroughly thrashed. It's just,
he can get back up again, unlike a lot of other people due to his regeneration. Take that away and yeah, he's, like, dead on his feet.
Right, because the regeneration allows him to perform all these awesome acrobatic feats and ninja skills because he can do whatever he needs to because, regeneration.
A bit of an extension on that is, like, it kind of plays into the main plot of the movie where when they're in that jail cell, he's stuck in his woe is me moment because he's now dying. He wants to die because they explicitly call out this part, but he's suffering through the Kubler-Ross model of death and grief, which I've discussed previously extensively in my .hack.gu reviews. And I find it hilarious as they explicitly have a character call it out what the guy is going through.
I thought that joke was funny. It's like, no more speaking lines for you.
Yeah.
But honestly though, acting wise, I really do appreciate Ryan Reynolds and how he thoroughly understands what Deadpool's all about. Because most other people, I think, would look at Deadpool and write him off as nothing but as a fourth wall breaking jokester, and he definitely is, and you get plenty of that in this movie. But Deadpool's at his best when the comedy is balanced with the
actual caring.
Right, it's almost like the comedy is a way to, distract you from, hey, look at all the suffering this guy is going through,
Yeah, they did that in the Uncanny X-Force comic by Rick Remender, where they have him be a sort of surrogate uncle to Kid Apocalypse.
I remember that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen
and
bits of that.
And they played him up as someone who wants to help this kid not become bastard. And I think that's what they were going for in this film. The plot of this, by the way, is Deadpool loses his girlfriend, goes through a woe is me phase. Meanwhile, Cable, played by Josh Brolin, in I think a lesser role than he was as Thanos.
And yes, they do make the Thanos joke.
They have to.
Yeah.
And Thanos is after this kid, Russell, who calls himself Fire Fist, and the kid in the future kills Cable's family.
Because, without Deadpool's intervention, the kid will go on to kill, this abusive asshole who runs the orphanage that Russell is staying at.
Yeah, and basically the only reason the kid went evil is that the orphanage is basically run by this super religious guy who thinks mutants are the spawns of Satan, is trying to redeem them by torturing them out of their wickedness. It's a transparent symbolic gesture at, the, gay kid camps.
Yeah.
Which is kind of transposed well because Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and I will never live down the fact that I thought she was a renamed Boom Boom from the X-Men Evolution thing. Mm. But anyways, Negasonic Teenage Warhead in this movie has a girlfriend named Yukiko, and they're kind of the token gay couple. That's kind of how the movie treats them, but that is kind of the joke considering this, XP of that whole situation. Yeah. Yukiko is best character, by the way.
Yeah, I just loved how she was always like, "Hi, Deadpool. Hi, Yukiko."
Actually, it's Yukio, but either way, it's but still, she didn't have much to do in the film until the very end during the final fight. But she's used effect, but you get a sense that she's a very positive, upbeat character.
Right.
That works well with Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who's basically moody and off-putting, and you just wonder, how do you get this couple?
And to be fair, that is how they used Negasonic TH Warhead in the first movie, so it's consistent.
So now you have someone, but it's even better here where you have someone to play off her, and it just makes you wonder, what was she like to get someone as happy as Yukio to really get into a relationship with her?
Well, Yukio seems kind of shy, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead seems like the person who wouldn't put up with shit, so maybe she helps her break out of her shell.
Yeah, probably.
There's a lot of ways you can read into that.
We weren't given much, but I would like to know more about her.
I would totally like to see, if they make a Deadpool 3, I would like to see more of them.
They're apparently in development for that.
Yeah, from the Wikipedia article. I'm actually scrolling down on Matt's computer to see if there's a listing of who the character is
got a match right here.
Because she had a costume in this that looked very much
familiar. Yukiko is a female ninja of Japanese origin sporting character of the X-Men. She's portrayed by Rita Fukushima. Her.
Well, I think she's a different character. Go down to film. Maybe that's...
Yeah.
No, that's not it. That's not her.
But it's...
Mutant possesses severe fighting skills like the Source Material, was also immune with precognitive ability foreseeing the death of other people. Different
Yeah,
character.
so that's definitely, because in the movie, Yukio's power seemed to be, like, based off of electricity, and, she brought out a chain, like, Ghost Rider style, and, like, just tied up the bad guy they were fighting's feet.
So maybe, like, when I thought Negasonic Teenage Ward was Boom Boom, since she had she's genius level intellect, so her weapon could just be something that's electrically charges itself.
Okay, that works.
Well, either way, it's still, I mean,
she was really cool.
Yeah.
This is odd. Created by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller.
Oh yeah, that
explains it.
That was during the Wolverine comic run, the original.
Yeah.
I have my thoughts to give on Brolin in this as Cable. I think it's good, but they kind of, I don't know how to say it. I mean, I want to say Brolin's a great actor. Josh Brolin is a fantastic actor. But I don't know if there's much to Cable that he's more interesting than he was in his original appearance in the comics, where he was just big, brawly, beefy guy with that was very top heavy.
With pouches everywhere.
But that's Rob Liefeld.
That's Rob Liefeld.
They even make a joke again at Rob Liefeld's expense that created by a horrible artist who can't draw feet.
Yep. Yeah. But, like, as far as Brolin goes, I think he did a great job, but I am with some people that think that he was probably not the perfect choice for Cable, because whenever I don't know much about the character other than, like, isn't he like Cyclops' kid from the future?
He's Cyclops. That's a whole But
it's complicated.
It's complicated.
It's X-Men, so it's very complicated.
But basically, like, when I think of Cable, I think of like this, like, the exaggerated buff guy from the future and stuff, and that's kind of the joke. And Brolin, like, he's jacked in this movie, but I think there were other options out there. I think they get like the humanity side of, the human aspect of Cable's character.
I think he's emotionally stunted due to him being enraged by his family's murder, which actually provides a very good counterpoint to Deadpool's own situation, where they're both using different ways to cope. Deadpool, it's trying to kill himself, and with Cable, it's, I'm going to use this convenient time machine I have, because that's part of the character's backstory, so it's completely legit, and I'm going to go solve the problem so it never happened.
Yep. And one part of the aspect of the movie that I actually really appreciated was, spoilers, by the way, at the end of the movie, Deadpool takes a bullet for Fire Fist, so that way, and just showing that and by the way, when he takes a shot, he has, like, the mutant restricting collar on him.
So he's not regenerating from it.
Right. So show to Russell that, like, he trusts, he's willing to protect this kid. Like, you don't have to be alone in this.
It's basically comparable to the trust fall exercise in that he's making a dramatic statement about being there for the kid who thinks that the entire world's against him, so the entire world might as well burn.
Right. And, like, so seeing this awesome act of heroism, Cable decides, you know what, I'm gonna go back in time just enough to put, like, a bulletproof patch over where Deadpool gets shot later.
He puts the
lead.
That's right, the lead
coin. The lead coin was,
a skee ball token from the first movie where he and his girlfriend go on their first date, and he gives it to her as an anniversary present.
And gets it back when she dies. It's actually not an actual skee ball token, but a lead coin molding of that thing. So it's not a worthless gift, but Wade starts carrying it around simply as an immortal memento, and in the middle of the second act, Cable just steals it.
Yep.
Just because he just feels like being a jerk about it.
Yeah. But, like, Cable basically goes back in time, puts a coin on Deadpool's person, so he doesn't have to take it
doesn't pierce his body.
Right, but the future is still changed because, like, he was carrying around his daughter's teddy bear as, like, a memento of everything, and it changed from, like, all burnt and ashen to, like, an actual good, fluffy teddy bear.
But it doesn't change things because the emphasis of Wade's action in actually doing the trustful exercise of taking the bullet for the kid still matters and is impactful to Fire Fist. So it's like, it's still retains the moment of changing his mind and changing his personal destiny.
Yeah. Do what the biggest surprise was?
What?
And I gotta commend, like, the film staff for keeping this tight-lipped because nobody knew about
I know
this.
what you're gonna say.
Yeah,
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Yeah, Juggernaut is in this film.
And he's actually Juggernaut-sized versus X3. Admittedly,
Right.
I like the first 3 X-Men movies, but I freely admit to them having problems.
Right,
Yeah.
and, like, his appearance, I was like, wait, who's behind? Like, I thought they were gonna go for some sort of obscure X-Men character,
But I think
First thing when they started advertising him, I thought, and I said in theater, is this the Juggernaut?
Yeah, you literally said, is this the Juggernaut? And
I am that good with reading narrative plot lines these days.
especially when you get they pretty much confirm it when Russell goes to give him some food, and when he tries to give like a knock, it's like on his cell. By the way,
Yeah, and Ron Reynolds voices the Juggernaut in this too.
He does?
And, yeah, I think it's because he's actually his second favorite character after Deadpool. I mean, that would explain all the gushing Deadpool does in the movie about actually seeing the Juggernaut here.
He probably begged David Leitch or Leitch, either way, like saying, I want Juggernaut, please send me Juggernaut.
And also, for those who don't know, Juggernaut isn't just like a big burly dude who rams things. Like, his mutant power that he will take the force applied to him and just kind of redirect it back at you. Not like in an energy wave, but like, that's why, like, only
It's the All Might way in that he stores the power.
Right, that's why only, like, somebody like Colossus can actually go toe-to-toe with him in the final fight without, like, getting immediately one-shotted, because when Deadpool meets Juggernaut for the first time in this movie, Juggernaut literally says, I'm gonna tear you apart, and Deadpool's like, oh, that's nice, and proceeds to actually rip him apart.
Yeah.
And Deadpool goes, I can feel my legs! Oh wait, no, there they are.
I feel like that was kind of a parody of the I must break the bat thing from the 90s.
Yeah, I think
Batman.
they were also calling back with that where Cable briefly kidnaps TJ Miller, who plays Weasel, and he's like, I was born in war, molded by it. I expected
They were doing the parodies of the Batman stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings me to my biggest problem with this film is overall I have a big problem with fourth wall breaking humor, especially when it's the main crux of the story. Like, fourth wall humor is kind of like a fart joke. It doesn't work often for me, but when it's used once in a while and used effectively, that's when it would work. Like, if they had done Cable doing the Bane speech from Dark Knight Rises, like, but him not knowing what the speech was, that he was basically giving, like, I didn't see the sun till I was a young man, and like not hamming it up like Tom Hardy.
Had they were doing it entirely seriously, yeah. Because, fourth wall jokes work well when you're leading into it, or it's like, in universe, the characters are, like, looking away from something which is just exasperating, like, and they end up looking straight into the camera for it. That is the kind of fourth wall joke where you can do it contextually and it works perfectly, but constant pop culture references and jabs at things, yeah, that's what this movie does with its fourth wall breaks, and it's like, okay, that is Deadpool in the comics. He does those kinds of fourth wall breaks all the time, but there's a point where you overload it, and I think this movie hit that a lot more than it did the previous one.
Right, and now, like, I don't 100% agree with you, but I will, not thinking upon it, I do think that, like, the thing I kind of appreciate about the humor in this movie is that, like, they don't actually date the movie. Like, a lot of times when it comes to these fourth wall breaking humor segments, or just any kind of really in more recent comedies, they will reference something that only makes sense, like, in 2018 or 20...
Yeah, whereas these references are primarily to other superhero genre movies, so you would have, if you're into these kinds of movies regularly, you would have gotten the big joke.
And Deadpool references 80s stuff, but not like constant, like, 80s zingers, but more like...
It's musical cues.
And...
and one more 80s reference that I'm kind of wondering why they didn't draw attention to this. The shirt he's wearing when he's on the couch after recovering from, the Juggernaut fight.
Tom Selleck shirt?
Nope. It's the same shirt that, the kid from the Goonies wore, the Truffle.
Oh.
Like, that's the kind of references that I like because to anybody else, that's just a shirt, but to anybody who's seen the Goonies will look at that and go, okay, I just got that. That's what makes the scene even funnier because they're on the couch talking and then Cable is in the room. And what's even funnier is that Josh Brolin played the jock character in the Goonies.
He played the big
That
brother.
is multiple tiers of meta.
That's what I'm saying, like...
That's awesome.
Right, because, like, I agree with you that, like, there are a lot of jokes that just kind of don't hit their mark in this movie, but Deadpool's...
It's like Airplane in that if you didn't like one joke, just wait 2 minutes.
Yeah, like, the part where he's talking about, why is it there only, only a few X-Men here? Where are the others? And then,
he opens a door accidentally,
and there's the X-Men, and the rest of them are in there, and they're just
and the Beast just, closes the door, and it's like, nope, just don't pay attention to us.
They're literally out of his line of sight.
Yeah, that's a good fourth wall joke. That was, if they had just done, where's Patrick Stewart? And then, not brought that, the fact they went the extra mile for that joke, that shows, dedication. Right. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, the Deadpool movies tend to have, their jokes work most of the time because they're not just one joke, it's a layer of jokes that exist at the same time that...
And it's not a Jenga tower, it's they're building a pyramid of a bigger narrative picture that provide context through the jokes.
Yep.
Yeah. And, my other big problem with this film, besides the constant references and the fact that they keep making the DC Cinematic Universe jokes, which I'm gonna say, guys, DC Cinematic Universe jokes are easy, they are done, please stop doing them, you're better than that. My actual big problem is Dopender, the cab driver, who goes from, I thought he was okay in the first film, I didn't really hate him. I thought, he worked for the film, but here, he really has nothing to do until the very end, and I mean the very, very end.
Yeah, he's practically an incessant jab at a brick joke.
And it's and the fact they play up his bloodthirstiness to want to kill, Deadpool, I felt that was okay, that's not really funny. It's kind of disturbing.
I don't think disturbing, but I do agree with you that, his existing, he does...
In a way, it's kind of another character microcosm of what Fire Fist is going through, because in the first movie, he kills his brother that stole his girlfriend, and now he's got a taste for blood in his mouth that he wants to sate. So that contrasts against Fire Fist, where the entire point of the movie for his character is to avert his first killing, which is of this bastard preacher dude. Yeah. And you know what? End of the movie, guy gets killed by what's his name?
By Dopender.
Dopender.
Yeah. Yeah, and they play it up as cause you can tell Dopender was pretty far gone because he's a grown man, he can make his own decisions, he can be a psychopath if he wants to. Good for him. But it's but I like how they actually treat this. I like they treat the idea of a kid killing, of a kid
going that step too far is a tragedy that the fact that it happened at all is
and the fact it becomes a mass murder because of all that abuse instead of getting him to rise above it, which is, to my understanding, a recurring thing in the X-Men comics where that the heroes are the ones who can rise above that and the villains are the ones who become consumed by it.
Yeah, right. That's the whole point of X-Men.
You hit the nail on the head pretty much with that.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were going for here to Deadpool's character arc, because Deadpool has an actual good character arc in this.
It's propagated from
his
fridging is not a good part of it, but it's good.
But the fact that it matters that because the problem with the women, the biggest problem with women in refrigerators joke that writers don't seem to get is when they kill off a beloved female loved one of the main character. Often aside from a few few token references good, I miss my girlfriend, what's her name? I miss her so much. It's pretty much what Uncle Ben gets relegated to.
Yeah, it's basically something that doesn't matter where the problem is.
But here it matters, and we actually, Deadpool tries to kill himself numerous times in this film, and every time he does, he sees Vanessa, and she's telling him, it's not your time.
Can I just say I like how they did the whole, he's there, but
there's that wall preventing him from actually reaching his personal nirvana.
Right there. And his personal nirvana, which I like, which kind of shows his true character, is just their apartment. It's not like a battlefield of him slaughtering people. It's
Like,
just a...
That's when he's at his happiest, when he was...
Yeah, it's home.
Yeah, it's
Right.
his true happiness is where he's with her. And I
Yeah.
liked that. I actually could care about Deadpool in this film, where in the first film it was just a guy wanting revenge. It's your standard revenge flick with comedy.
And the other thing I kind of appreciate about this movie is that the first movie felt like the climax was kind of forced to be big when it really shouldn't had to have been that big.
Mm-hmm.
But by big, I mean like
It takes place on a trashed helicarrier.
Right, like it's like a big set piece, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whereas here, like it's in a set piece that we already saw, but now it's on fire and people are punching each other. You know what I mean? Like it's more of an internal, personal struggle as opposed to it, which is actually kind of funny because like I would think like when they're in the car chase, like chasing the convoy that's transporting like the Fire Fist and the other mutant prisoners, like that was going to be the final act right there. But it's like, oh no, because most other movies that would be like this, where all of our budget's going.
No, you need to have the all is lost moment.
Yeah. And I also, another joke I like, big CGI fight!
Yeah, it's like big CGI fight coming your way. Like,
Plus, in contrast to like most of the Marvel movies where it's this big climactic battle, it's their big final battle takes place in an orphanage they're wrecking.
Yeah, and the big fight, and you could say the real actual fight is one of more, like, trying to convince a kid who is really angry, has the ability to make
who's like super upset and kind of broken about this, and like
is ready to give up on everything and burn the world just to make himself feel better.
Yeah,
right. And then Wade stepping up to the plane and saying like, "No, kid, you don't have to do this."
Yeah,
you know,
you don't have to be the bad guy here. Just because he was the bad guy doesn't mean you have to be like him.
Yeah, you told me you wanted to be the hero, but this isn't the way all heroes act. And in a twisted sort of way, you kind of can see him as the hero's own story. It's just that him being a hero just causes a lot of people to die, including innocents in it. So it's again contrasting against Deadpool, who literally has, and they say it in the film in different terms, has walked down that road himself.
Yeah.
Yep. And like, and as far as the action goes, I think the cinematography was pretty decent. Like, nothing you haven't really seen before. If you saw the first Deadpool movie, prepare to see the same kind of fight scenes again. Yeah. In fact, there's a scene during the car chase where, like, the guy does the push the gun through Deadpool's hand thing and then fires, which they did in the first movie. Yeah. And I thought that was a cheeky reference, but...
I don't think it's a reference. I think it's just a tactic Deadpool makes use of because he's freaking Deadpool.
But it's easy to do.
Yeah, but basically, like, it's still entertaining. It's just, if you're going into this movie expecting to see something, Deadpool do something different with his abilities, you're only gonna get that maybe like once or twice. My favorite bit though is during the prison fight breakout, Deadpool's fighting Cable and stuff, and Cable like breaks Deadpool's arm, and at this point he got his regeneration powers back. So what Deadpool does is take his broken arm and just wrap it around Cable's head to put him into a stranglehold, and I really thought that was a clever use of like...
Okay, that explains something.
What?
In the movie, they're complaining about one of the characters, Black Tom Cassidy, being killed off so summarily. Apparently, he was supposed to be the main antagonist and acting as the devil on Firefist's shoulder, but the writers realized there was too many antagonists in the film, and they probably should have spent that money on just Juggernaut.
Yeah, and
that was smart.
That's definitely...
In that, Firefist did not need the devil on his shoulder to spur him into this kind of thing. He was already a massive rage.
Yeah. Right. Like, and hopefully, like, when it comes to like that kind of raw pain, like, it really, I felt that at times, and it really can consume you, and you just want to like, go on the warpath, basically. And, thank God that Deadpool was there to like, save the day. And, I know I keep harping on this, but you have no idea how, I'm not exactly a huge Deadpool fan, but I'm sick and tired of comic book movies completely missing the point of a character for even if it's in like one key aspect or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need someone whispering dastardly into someone's ear to understand that this person has been hurt and they're going to act in those types of fight or flight responses when you're stuck with the mental pictures in your head.
Yep.
Yeah, and also another thing I like better about this film than the first, Colossus seems like a character in this. Colossus in the first film, I felt was pretty much wasted, because he was pretty much made up to be as part of the joke again, the jab at don't kill the bad guy, even though when the bad guy is a total bastard, which...
To continents what we were just talking about, the devil on Firefish Shoulder, he was kind of trying to act like the angel to Deadpool's better nature, which he kind of did need the impetus for that in that film.
Right.
Yeah, the film, and here I think it works better when Deadpool near the end tries to go to help him actually get him to help him, and Colossus is just like, no, I don't want to help. But then he compromises himself when he realizes Deadpool's doing what he was trying to do to help him out, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to fight dirty too. I'll fight dirty just this once for the greater good of saving a kid from becoming a monster. And I think that's pretty much what he was doing. Compromise your morals.
No, I don't think it went that far. I'm saying that to keep your morals, you always don't need to be the perfect paragon.
Right.
It's like the Commander Shepard kind of thing. You can still be a good guy and punch someone in the dick every now and then.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, let's be honest, raise your hands, people. Whoever played Mass Effect, when you came across that nasty reporter and stuff, you all punched her in the face. Come on, you all did it.
I waited until the second game because she'd built up the negative karma for it, but I still did it.
Sometimes you just gotta punch at him a little.
I punched her in one playthrough, then I pretty much just made her cry with my words of... I just made her cry.
Yeah,
because that's more...
I didn't know you can make her cry.
You can basically make her, with the paragraph, basically saying, get her to realize that get her to turn around.
I did not know this.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta be a good guy about it, and
sometimes you need to avoid the renegade interrupt. I get you.
But the point is, at the end of the day, character-wise, they were pretty much on point. I'm struggling to find a legit, a supreme negative about the movie, but I think honestly, at the end of the day, as the comedy, the violence, it's all purely subjective, because for me and my crazy puns and zany reference humor, the fourth wall jokes resonated with me, but they don't really exactly work for you, Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's still an action comedy, so you may be entertained by the action, but the comedy will be...
It's up to you.
Right, it's entirely up to you,
Yeah.
I think my biggest problem with the film was the fridging of Vanessa. Now, I've defended .xgu with its concerns about Shino and where they kind of did the same thing to bring on an impetus of Haseo's own story and character arc, but that's because in that event, Shino was always not supposed to be her own character, but a cipher overall for any type of loss to part of the impetus of the character arc. Here, Vanessa was a fully realized character that they just killed off to make an impetus for the character arc. It worked well for the character, but it's still problematic.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better had they been not so oblivious to the whole fridging controversy, and then that been an intended joke stabbing at that trope, considering they then lampshaded in the opening sequence of that exact thing, and then how they subvert it entirely in the post-credit scene, where Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio fix
Cable's time travel device.
The time diddler.
The time diddler!
And goes back and saves Vanessa. So then you remove the actual consequences of her death while still retaining the character arc and allowing her to be in the next movie in potentially a more fleshed out role.
Right.
That is definitely countenancing it, removing the harmful side of that, but it would have been better handled, I feel, had they been aware of how controversial and problematic this has been, especially since they were taking so many jabs at DC, and one of the big controversies from them as of late being the handling of the Killing Joke movie, and Barbara Gordon's character as a whole.
Yeah.
That's for another day.
Yeah,
that's for another day.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you on the Vanessa thing. Because we were saying this earlier, but a big problem with the women in refrigerators trope is that it becomes quickly window dressing for the character's hero's motivations. Where it's here, honestly, like if they didn't have those scenes where Deadpool sees Vanessa in the afterlife,
it would have just been.
It would have completely killed the movie. But those scenes where Vanessa's, like proud of Wade Wilson for doing his thing, like,
for saving the kid.
Right, like, telling him to be on the right path, like, without those without actually doing something with it. But basically, if you're gonna be controversial, you actually did something with it. But it still doesn't distract from the fact that you did it in the first place, so.
Yeah. As long, they at least owned up to it, and I say, good on you, you owned up to it. That's bigger than most people do, where they try to just
play
it
away. Off and stuff.
Yeah. You're bigger men than most people.
Right.
Yeah, we're, although speaking of those mid and post-credit scenes, Deadpool kills the DC cinematic universe.
No, he doesn't really kill it, he just kills Ryan Reynolds. Before he accepts Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's the big jab at that in that, it's my first big rule, it's all up and up from here. Deadpool comes in and shoots him.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds really seems to regret that movie.
Right.
I don't know if he does. I say, Ryan, it was not a good film, but at least it's not one of your romantic comedies, dude.
Oof.
Those are worse. I'm just gonna say it. I don't like them, but you're cool, dude. You're still a cool guy.
Yeah.
It's not Blade 3.
It's not Blade Trinity. You did Blade Trinity. Where's the jab at that, buddy?
But first, before he kills Ryan Reynolds, he goes back in time, saves Vanessa, goes back again to X-Men Origins Wolverine.
And kills not Deadpool.
Right? That part I fucking love, because it's just like, just clean up!
They even get the scene from the movie with Hugh Jackman physically in person. If they did retcon X-Men Origins away completely before with the more recent time travel shenanigans of the second trilogy X-Men movies, then they definitely did it here.
Yeah,
right.
Which I'd like to think that this is just like wish fulfillment. It's wish fulfillment because you could see Deadpool in the comics doing this. They even one guy I follow on YouTube, it's just some random guy. That was his biggest running joke. In fact, he actually has his Deadpool action figure pick up the head of not Deadpool, and stomp on it.
The funnier thing about that is the movie opens on him, like, basically,
blowing himself up.
Not the blowing himself up part, but that is part of it. He sets a figure of Logan with his body impaled on a branch and said, so Wolverine's gonna take my shtick of being an R-rated Marvel movie? Well, and kill himself in it? Well, how about, here's this for an opening, and blows himself up.
Like, now, I actually saw Logan, and Davis, that, like, him on the tree branch, that's where Logan dies in that movie. And
I still haven't seen that, but I do know what happens.
I did not know that.
That's why I was chuckling at it, because I was like, that's the thing, that's what we keep saying, like, when there's jokes in this movie, like, they can work on their own, but if you have any working knowledge of, like, how the comic book movie scene has been going, or, like, just what happens in them, you'll be rewarded with the meta-ness of it.
Which is how that kind of storytelling should work. You should not need to see all these other things to get the jokes or storytelling of that thing, but merely knowing of them broadens your perspective and appreciation of them. That's how you do serialized storytelling or storytelling with regards to a grander universe.
I think our next superhero movie should be Logan. I think that should just be, because I still haven't seen it.
We'll put it on the list. We'll probably see Ant-Man and the Wasp before that happens.
Well, we gotta see Ant-Man versus the Wasp. I mean, like, it's...
Not versus the Wasp.
Or not versus the Wasp. The Waspinator! That would be
Waspinator can't move!
That would be a very interesting Marvel movie, just like Ant-Man versus, like, an actual transforming Wasp. Yeah.
He's had it too good for too long. But doesn't he die in, like, every other episode? He's had it too good for too long.
But, yeah, so if I were to rank this movie on, like, a 10 out of 10 scaling, I'd give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. You know, I think the action was pretty solid. Comedy was, on point for me, but I'm not ranking it a full 10 because the action and comedy parts are very subjective and they kind of don't work on their own unless, like, basically what I'm saying is, like, the comedy works, but for them to achieve their maximum funny factor, you have to have, like, a working knowledge of some things. And if you're just going to the movie blind, like, if you only saw Deadpool and Deadpool 2, you know what I'm saying? But still, if you haven't seen it, I would definitely check it out. If you haven't seen it in theaters yet, we went to the matinee showing, and I think the price we paid for the tickets was, about what I would pay for it.
Yeah, same here. I'd give it myself a 7. I think the humor was very... I give it that mostly because good drama, good acting, I'd say good writing, and good action. Did I say good action? I'll count it twice. Yeah. Now, it's so good I'll count it twice. It has
double the action.
But the comedy really was like, my face was pretty much just like solid fit, solid during a lot of the jokes, but when I did laugh, it made me laugh. I'd give it a 7. It's good. I would probably see it again on Blu-ray, not again in theaters. It's not Infinity War, and I would see Infinity War again in theaters.
We're getting the Blu-ray for that, though, so no need.
Yeah.
Me, I don't like rating things I don't have, like, extreme knowledge in on a 1 to 10 rating scale. It's pretty much why I only do it for Power Rangers, because breadth of that. I still need to read a bunch of the Deadpool material in the comics, but again, what I've seen I've liked, and honestly, I get enough laughs out of this to definitely want to see it again multiple times in marathon with the original movie as well. That, solid recommendation.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep, definitely a good time.
Definitely worth $7.
2018 has been pretty decent to superheroes so far. No, not just decent, but been pretty great for superheroes.
It's pretty good. It's been overall very good.
Yeah,
Now all we need for them is to announce a Blue Beetle movie.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle, and also I need...
Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle.
Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. Yes, we need a Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. And, I think, isn't there...
Because the lack of bug-themed superheroes in, super and modern movies is severely lacking.
Bugs are bad, but they need representation, Hollywood. You're bug-cyst.
Bug-cyst.
I thought that's when a tick gets sealed within a, zit.
Ooh, that's a thing?
That is a thing.
Oh my man. Well, congratulations, audience. You just learned something today. We've all learned stuff together.
So, yeah. That's all we got for y'all, and we'll see y'all later.
See ya.
See ya.
Nice meeting you.